The sky was red, full of smoke and dust. The sun burned hot over the ruined alien city. Nothing moved, only the wind, carrying sand across broken walls and empty streets. But then, a sound. Alarm. A loud siren echoed through the ruins. Heavy. Boots hit the ground. 3 alien guards ran through the broken road, chasing someone. They shouted in their language, angry and loud. In front of them, a small figure jumped over a metal pipe and ran faster. It was a girl. Her skin was blue-gray, her arms thin like sticks. She wore dirty clothes, torn and old. Her name was Kira. In her hand, she held a small silver bottle. Water. Water was rare now. After the Great War, rivers dried up. Machines took the rest. Only the rich had clean water. For the poor, even one bottle was worth a life. Kira was tired. She had not eaten in 2 days. Her feet hurt, but she ran. She had stolen the water from a rich merchant's camp. Now the guards were after her. She turned into a narrow alley. Her heart beat fast. She looked back. Too late. A guard jumped from the side and grabbed her arm. She screamed. The other 2 caught up and pushed her to the ground. "Thief!" one shouted. "She took the water." Kira tried to fight, but she was too weak. One guard raised his sharp blade. "Cut off her arm," he said. "Let the others see what happens to thieves." Kira's eyes widened. She shook her head. "Please, no." The blade came down. "Stop." A loud voice echoed across the street. It was deep, human. The guards froze. They turned. A man stood at the end of the alley. Tall, strong, and wearing dark armor with a brown coat. His face was rough, with a scar on his cheek. "His name was Jackson." I said stop, he repeated. His hands were up, showing no weapon. One of the guards stepped forward. "This is not your world, human. Go away." "She's just a kid," Jackson said. "Let her go. She stole. She pays. I'll pay." The guards laughed. "With what?" Jackson reached into his bag and pulled out a small silver cube. It glowed faintly. "A purifier core," he said. "Enough to power your camp for a week. It's clean. It's real." The guards looked at each other. One of them grabbed the cube and scanned it. The scanner blinked green. "It's good," he said. "Very good." The leader of the guards frowned. "You are lucky, girl," he told Kira. "This human saved you. But next time no one will." He turned and walked away. The others followed. Kira stayed on the ground, shaking. Jackson walked up slowly and kneeled beside her. "You okay?" he asked. She looked at him with wide, confused eyes. "Why did you help me? You looked like you needed it." She sat up. Her arm was bleeding from the grip of the guard. Her lips were dry, cracked. She held the water bottle tight. Jackson handed her a cloth. "Wrap this. Stop the bleeding." Kira didn't move. She watched him with fear. "I don't trust humans," she said. "I get that a lot," he answered with a small smile. She looked away. "They say humans bring death, fire, war." Jackson didn't answer right away. He looked around the empty street. "Maybe some do," he said, "but not all." She still didn't take the cloth. Slowly, Jackson opened his bag and pulled out a second water bottle. He placed it beside her. "You can keep both," he said. "Drink, eat this too." He handed her a protein bar. Kira took the bar and looked at it. Her hands shook. Then slowly she opened it and took a small bite. Tears filled her eyes. Jackson sat beside her without saying anything. The wind blew softly now. The danger was gone. For the moment, she finally whispered, "My name is Kira. I'm Jackson." They sat in silence. The bottle slipped from Kyra's hand and rolled across the floor, stopping at the edge of the old stone wall. She didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the man sitting beside her. The human, she had never seen one up close. Only heard stories, dark ones. Stories of fire raining from the sky. ships that cut through the clouds, machines that tore cities apart. Her people called humans monsters, but this one, he gave her water. He stopped the guards. He didn't ask for anything in return. That scared her more. She grabbed the bottle and stood up quickly. "Thank you," she said, but her voice was cold. "I don't need you." Jackson looked up at her, not surprised. "You're limping." I said I'm fine. He didn't argue. He stood up too, but slower. His eyes moved across the buildings, broken, burnt, silent. "Where will you go?" Kyra didn't answer. She turned and started walking. She didn't want to show it, but her leg hurt badly. Her body shook. Every step felt heavier than the last Dot behind her. Jackson didn't follow. He just stood and watched Dot. She turned the corner and disappeared. That night, the wind was strong, cold. Kira found a small shelter under an old pipe. She held the water bottle close, but didn't drink much. She had to make it last. She tried to sleep, but the pain in her leg kept her awake. The guard had kicked her hard before she ran. Now it was swollen, hot, maybe broken. She didn't know then. She heard a sound, slow footsteps coming closer. She held her breath. Someone was there. She pulled out a sharp metal piece she kept hidden in her belt. She waited, ready to fight. A shadow moved near the wall. Then a soft voice said, "Easy. It's just me." Jackson. Kira lowered the weapon, but didn't speak. "I brought something," he said, placing a small box on the ground. Inside were clean bandages, a pain patch, and a sealed food pack. "I told you I don't need help," she said. "You didn't ask for it." She stared at him. "Why are you following me?" "I'm not. I just figured you'd be here. I've been in this city before." Kira looked away. She didn't want to cry in front of him. Her leg throbbed again, harder this time. "I can fix that leg," he said, "if you let me." She didn't answer. Jackson opened the medical box slowly and pulled out a soft gel patch. "This will stop the pain. It won't heal it all the way, but it'll help." She hesitated. Then, with a sigh, she nodded. He moved carefully. No sudden moves. He pressed the patch onto the bruised skin. It felt cold at first, then warm. The pain faded a little. "Better?" he asked. She nodded again. He sat beside her just like before. The city was quiet now. No sirens, no footsteps. Just the wind and their breathing. "You don't act like other humans," she said softly. "I'm not like other humans." "Then what are you?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled something from his jacket. A photo. Kira leaned forward. In the picture was a young alien girl, like her but smiling. Her eyes were full of light. She stood next to a group of humans in explorer suits. "She was my friend," Jackson said. "She helped us understand this planet. What happened to her?" He didn't look at her. "She disappeared during the war. I came back to find her, or what's left." Kyra's voice shook. "That's not possible. Nobody helps aliens." "Not really." Jackson finally looked at her. "Maybe not, but I do." The silence grew again. Kyra looked at the photo one more time, then back at Jackson. "Why did you save me?" she asked. "Because I saw what they were going to do. And I couldn't watch." Kyra pulled her legs close to her chest. "They would have cut my arm off." "Yes." She held her arm now, remembering the fear. "I was just thirsty. I know." They sat in the cold air. Two strangers, both alone, yet somehow not alone anymore. Then Jackson said, "That arm, it's not healing well. If we don't treat it right, you might lose it anyway." Kara looked down. Her forearm was red, swollen, and full of bruises. The guard's grip had done more damage than she thought. "There's an outpost, old human station, outside the city," Jackson said. "Might still have medical gear. We should go there." "We?" "You can't walk far on that leg. I'll carry you if I have to." She stared at him. "Why are you doing this?" Jackson stood up and stretched his shoulders. "Let's just say, I don't like watching people suffer when I can do something about it. Kyra slowly reached for the photo still lying on the ground. She looks like me, she whispered. I know, Jackson said. That's why I couldn't let them hurt you. Asterisk, the dream came again. Kira stood in a field of fire. Her hands were red with blood, not hers. The sky cracked open, and giant metal ships fell from above. People screamed. Buildings melted. A voice called her name from the smoke. She turned. The voice became a roar. Then dash nothing. She woke up gasping. Heart racing. It was still dark. Cold air filled the broken shelter. She was alone. Jackson was gone. She sat up quickly and looked around. His bag was still there. The fire was still burning low. But the man himself had vanished. She grabbed the metal pipe beside her, ready to fight. A whisper of movement came from outside. She crept toward the wall and peeked through a hole. Jackson stood in the open, talking into a small black device. His face looked different now, serious, sharp, not like before. The wind carried a few words to her ears. Double quotes. No, I haven't told her yet. Pause. Not until I'm sure it's her. Kyra's blood ran cold. Was he lying this whole time? She backed away from the hole and sat down, quiet, thinking. Jackson came back a few minutes later with dry wood and a quiet smile. You sleep okay? She nodded slowly. He handed her a new protein bar. We'll move soon. The outpost isn't far. But we have to be careful. This area's not safe at night. Kyra took the bar, but didn't eat. Her eyes stayed on him. Her thoughts were loud. Was he really trying to help? Or was he after something else? They walked in silence for a while, through the dry stone paths and broken metal roads. Kyra limped, but didn't complain. Jackson kept close, watching the shadows. At one point, he helped her over a collapsed bridge. She almost pulled away, but then let him hold her arm. They reached the outpost by midday. It was half buried under dust and sand, with one metal door still showing. Jackson used a small tool to unlock it. A soft hiss filled the air. The door slid open. Inside, the place was quiet. Dead screens, empty shelves. The light flickered once, then stayed on dim but working. Kyra walked slowly, eyes wide. She had never seen human tech this close. She saw tools, old machines, broken drones, and a mirror. She stopped. Her reflection shocked her. She looked like a ghost. Dirt on her face, blood on her clothes, eyes too big from fear and hunger. Her arm was worse now, purple at the edges, skin tight around the wound. Jackson opened a med box. We're lucky. There's still power in the system. I can run the cleaner. Kyra stepped back. What does that mean? It's fast and painful, he said, but it'll save your arm. She stared at him, unsure. Why would you care? He looked at her for a long moment, then said quietly, because you remind me of someone I failed to protect. She didn't ask more. Not yet. The machine clicked on. Kyra sat on the table and bit down on her scarf. Jackson wrapped her arm and pressed a button. The pain hit like fire. She screamed, but didn't pull away. Minutes passed. Then silence again. Jackson turned the machine off. Her arm was wrapped in new cloth. Clean. Treated. You'll be okay, he said. She didn't answer. She just lay back, breathing hard. Later, as the sun began to fall, Kyra finally spoke. Who were you talking to this morning? Jackson blinked. You heard that? She nodded. He sighed and sat beside her. The truth is, I was sent here. Not by a government, not by soldiers. A group of people, humans and aliens, trying to rebuild. They believe someone on this planet survived the fire. Someone who knew how to save it. Why me? I don't know yet, but you were in the right place. At the right time, and something tells me you're part of something bigger. Kyra shook her head. I'm no one. I steal to live. I run. I hide. "You survived," he said. "That makes you stronger than most." She looked at him, unsure if she should believe. But something inside her, a small piece, deep down wanted to. That night, as the stars returned, Kira stood at the outpost window. For the first time in years, she felt a little hope. But far in the distance, something moved in the darkness. 3 pairs of red eyes blinked and followed her scent. Asterisk, the rats were gone. Kira noticed it first. The small gray creatures that usually ran through the ruins at night had disappeared. No sound. No scratching. No movement, only silence. She stood by the outpost wall, watching the broken horizon. Something felt wrong in her chest, like cold fingers pressing on her heart. Inside, Jackson checked the old gear he had found: tools, wires, a short-range scanner. The machines here were still half alive, still whispering in a forgotten human language. Kira stepped in, quiet. "There's no sound out there," she said. "Even the rats are gone." Jackson looked up, then grabbed his scanner. He tapped the screen. It blinked once, then turned red. "Motion. South side. 3 signals. Close guards?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, too fast, too quiet." Kira's eyes narrowed. "Hunters, worse." He turned off the lights. The outpost dropped into darkness. Outside, dry footsteps moved across the sand, slow, steady, careful, like something sniffing for a scent. Kira crouched near the corner, holding her breath. Jackson moved to the back door, pulling a small energy pistol from his bag. He whispered, "If they come in, we run. No fighting." "What are they?" she asked. He didn't answer. Then came a soft click, metal against metal. Something was at the front door. Kira's body froze. She had heard of them, shadow eaters. Not alien, not machine, something worse. Born after the war, built from broken tech and hatred. They didn't want water. They didn't want food. They wanted life. The scanner beeped louder. One of them was now on the roof. Then crash. The wall burst open like paper. A tall, twisted figure stepped through the dust. Its body was thin like wire, arms too long, eyes glowing red. Sharp claws scraped the floor. It looked at Kira. She couldn't move. Jackson grabbed her hand. "Run!" They bolted through the back. The outpost shook behind them. Another wall broke. The creatures were inside. Jackson led her through the ruins. Kira limped, but he didn't let go. They ran past old ships, broken signs, piles of forgotten bones. The air was filled with growls now. 3 of them. "Close, we can't outrun them." Kira shouted. "We don't have to," Jackson said, turning sharply. He stopped at a collapsed station. "Get inside." They slid under the wreckage. Jackson pulled a panel closed behind them. Inside was a tiny room, dark, cramped, full of dust. But silent. They waited. Seconds felt like hours. Footsteps. Outside. Claws. Breathing. One of the creatures scratched at the metal. Then slowly, the sound faded. They were gone. Kira fell back, gasping. What were those things? Failed weapons. Jackson said, "After the war, humans made machines to protect the last cities. But the programming broke. Some turned wild, others mutated. Now they hunt anything that moves. You knew they were here?" "I hoped they were gone." Kira stared at him. "Why are you really here, Jackson? You're not just some traveler with snacks and stories." He hesitated. Then reached into his jacket and pulled out a flat card. A mark blinked on it, red and silver. She didn't recognize the symbol. "I was part of Project Haven," he said. "We were building a new city, underground, a safe place. But it failed. Something inside tore it apart. Only a few of us survived. And now, I'm here because of you." Kira blinked. "Me? You weren't just a random girl stealing water. We tracked a signal. It matches the same code used in Haven's last communication. It's coming from your body." She stepped back. "That's not possible." He looked at her softly. You have tech in you, hidden, maybe since birth. Maybe you don't even know. Kira felt her head spin. She grabbed her chest. I'm not a machine. No, but someone used you to carry something, maybe a message, maybe more. Silence. Then she whispered, what if I don't want to know? Jackson nodded. That's your choice. But those things out there, they do know. And they're hunting you now. Kira sat down. The fear in her was deep, but behind it, something else was growing. A light, small but real. She wasn't just a thief anymore. She was a target. A key. Maybe even a weapon, outside. The wind howled again, and 3 red eyes still watched. Kira didn't sleep that night. She sat in the wreckage, staring at her hand, watching it like it was no longer hers. Something was inside her. A code, a secret. A signal strong enough to bring machines crawling from the dark, just to stop her heart. But she had no memory of it. No pain. No surgery. Nothing. So who put it there? Beside her, Jackson slept with his back to the wall, one hand on his weapon, the other near his bag. Even in rest, his face looked ready for war. Kira reached for the scanner he had left by his side. She moved quietly, like a shadow, and picked it up. The screen blinked. A map lit up faint, glitching. But it showed something strange, a red circle, right in the center of her chest. She froze. Slowly, she scrolled through the data. It wasn't just a tracker. It was a storage unit. Hidden inside her was something locked, encrypted. Even the scanner couldn't open it. Just one line of text flashed again and again. Access requires human key. She didn't know what that meant. But she knew one thing. Jackson hadn't told her everything. She slipped the scanner back, sat quietly, and waited for morning. When the sun rose, Jackson was already packing. We move now, he said. We can't stay here. Where are we going? Kira asked. To the vault, he said. The place I came here to find. What's in it? Water, data, power, everything your people lost. Kira didn't believe that anymore. Not fully. Still, she followed. They crossed the silent city, keeping to the shadows. Every sound made her heart jump. Every broken pipe looked like an ambush. The hunters could return at any moment. Then she saw something ahead, a wide crater in the wide ground. An old landing zone, now dry and dead. And at the center of it, a metal hatch. Rusted, sealed, half covered in sand. Jackson knelt and placed his hand on a panel. The light blinked. Nothing happened. Biolock, he said. Needs 2 matches. Kira tilted her head. 2? 1 human, he said. And 1 carrying the code. She hesitated. You think this is why I was born? She asked. To open a door? Maybe, Jackson said softly. Or maybe you were meant to walk through it. She stepped beside him. Her fingers trembled. She placed her palm on the second panel. The hatch clicked. Then slowly it began to open. A deep, low hiss escaped from below. Cold air rushed out, smelling of metal, dust, and something ancient. They walked into the darkness. The tunnel was deep, winding, full of broken screens and cracked lights. The deeper they went, the colder it became. Kira's breath fogged the air. Then they found it. A large chamber with black walls and glowing wires. A giant tube stood in the center, full of blue light and thick cables. Jackson stared in silence. It's still here, he said. The memory core. Kira moved closer. Inside the glass, strange shapes floated. Not water, not air. Something alive. What is that? She asked. It's knowledge, Jackson said. History, technology, hope. He reached into his bag and pulled out the chip Kira had seen before. She stepped back. You lied, she said. I didn't lie, he replied. I just didn't tell everything. You used me to open this place. I needed you, he said. But not like that. I needed you to see it. Kira's voice grew louder. Why? Why me? Because the data inside you is the final piece, Jackson said. A living key. Someone protected it by hiding it in a child. Someone who knew the war would destroy everything else. Kyra looked at the glowing chamber. So what now? She asked. We unlock it. He placed the chip into the slot. A blue line moved across the glass. Then he turned to her. Place your hand here, he said. She looked at him one last time, then she did. The light exploded. For a second, everything went white. Memories rushed through her mind, cities floating in the sky. Machines that cleaned the oceans. People of every kind working side by side. And then war. Fire. Silence. She fell back. Gasping. The vault was alive again. Jackson stood beside her, smiling. You did it. Kira couldn't speak. Her eyes filled with tears. Not of pain, but of truth. And behind them, deep in the tunnels, something began to wake up. Asterisk, the voice was not human, and it came from the walls. Vital signs confirmed. Human ... Net hybrid. Access approved. Welcome back. Kyra's ears rang. The glowing core behind her pulsed like a heartbeat. The lights in the chamber turned on one by one, each one buzzing with new energy. Jackson stepped forward slowly, eyes wide. It's still working. What was that voice? Kira asked. Her hands were still shaking from the vision she had seen. Cities flying, oceans clean, people united. A world before the war. Jackson looked around. The vault is more than just storage. It's alive. It's a thinking machine, a caretaker. A new screen dropped from the ceiling and flickered to life. A map appeared. Not of the city. Of the underground. Beneath them was a system of tunnels, pipes, machines, and something glowing deep below. Kira pointed. What is that? That, Jackson said, his voice low, is the water core. Kyra blinked. It's real? There's really water down there? Jackson nodded. Enough to bring this planet back to life. If we can reach it. The screen changed. Again. This time, it showed red lights blinking all around them. Red meant danger. Kyra's breath caught. What are those? Old defense systems, Jackson said. Robots, traps, machines left behind to guard the vault. They don't know we're not the enemy. They'll try to kill us? He nodded once. Without asking questions, Kira clenched her fists. Then let's move fast. They found a narrow stairwell going deeper into the earth. The air grew colder. The walls were covered in old Mark's human writing mixed with alien script. A forgotten language of peace. But the peace didn't last. As they reached the next chamber, a loud clang echoed through the tunnel. Then another, and another. Something was moving toward them. Heavy, metallic, angry. Jackson pushed Kira behind a crate. He aimed his pistol toward the dark hall. Out stepped a tall metal robot, rusted but deadly. Its head turned sharply, and its red eye lit up. Unauthorized lifeform detected. It raised its arm charged with blue energy. Kira screamed, "Run!" But Jackson didn't run. He jumped forward, sliding under the bot, and fired 3 shots into its leg joint. Sparks flew. The robot stumbled. Kira grabbed a metal bar and slammed it into the back of its head. It cracked but didn't fall. Hit the core. Jackson shouted. Kira saw it now, a glowing circle on the bot's chest. She jumped, slammed the bar into it with all her strength. The bot sparked, screamed, and dropped. Smoke filled the hall. They both stood there, breathing hard. The silence returned, but only for a moment. From deeper inside, more footsteps echoed, heavier, closer. They heard that, Jackson said. We don't have much time. They ran. Hall after hall, door after door. Some opened with Kyra's touch. Others had to be blasted open. At last, they reached the final gate. It was huge, covered in old vines and cracked paint. But behind it, they could hear it. Water, flowing, alive. Jackson stepped forward and placed both hands on the scanner. Last door, he said. Ready? Kira nodded. He looked at her. This world has suffered, but it doesn't have to die. The door creaked. Open. Inside was a glowing blue lake, artificial, clean, endless. Machines floated on the surface, slowly filtering and sending water through the pipes. Kira walked to the edge. She dropped to her knees and touched the water. It was warm. Real. She looked at Jackson. We can save them. He smiled. You already have. But behind them, the sound returned. The machines had followed. One by one, they marched into the chamber, shining metal bodies, red eyes, blades for arms. Kira turned. We can't fight them all. Jackson didn't speak. Instead, he pulled out a small device from his coat, one Kira hadn't seen before. A black cube, glowing. He looked at her with sad eyes. This can wipe their systems, shut them down for good. Then use it. He shook his head. It needs to be activated manually. Up close. Kira froze. You mean I need to go to them? She grabbed his arm. No, he smiled. It's okay. I was never supposed to survive this. But you're the future. She held his hand tight. He placed the cube in her palm. I'll lead them away. You reach the command center. Release the water to the city. Save them, all of them. And before she could stop him, Jackson ran into the light. Jackson didn't look back. He ran straight into the line of machines, holding the glowing cube tight in his hand. The floor shook beneath him. The walls lit up red. Warning sirens screamed, but all Kira could hear was her heartbeat. Then, boom, a flash of white light filled the vault chamber. The ground trembled. Metal screamed and sparks flew like stars in the dark. Kira shielded her eyes. When she looked up, the machines were still frozen. Some had fallen. Others stood like statues, smoke rising from their joints. One by one, their red eyes faded to black. But Jackson, he was gone. All that remained was his coat. Kira couldn't breathe. She took a slow step forward, then another. Her hand brushed the cloth still warm from his body. She fell to her knees. He saved her. Saved everyone. And now, she was alone. Or so she thought. The chamber lights shifted. The same voice from before returned, calm, deep, strange. System unlocked. City connection restored. Awaiting final command. Kira stood slowly, wiping her eyes. Her legs felt weak, but she walked toward the main console. A giant screen rose from the floor, showing the city above. Dry. Broken. Waiting. She placed her hand on the pad. It scanned her once, then blinked green. Confirm water released to surface? Kira looked up. She thought of the hungry children in the ruins. The old ones who had no strength left. The angry guards, the empty homes, the cracked wells, and she thought of Jackson, the way he looked at her like she was more than just a thief. Like she was meant for something bigger. Her voice was soft, but steady. Confirm. The screen flashed. Giant pumps came to life. Water surged through the old pipes, clear, clean, endless. It rushed upward like a heartbeat, returning to a dying body. Up on the surface, the broken fountains burst open. The old wells overflowed. Streets filled with steam as the dry air met fresh water for the first time in years. People screamed. Then they cried. Then they knelt and drank. And somewhere far beneath their feet, a girl stood in silence, watching it all happen on the screen, tears in her eyes, hope in her chest, and Jackson's coat in her arms. The vault lights began to dim. Systems were shutting down. But one final message blinked on the screen. Haven protocol complete. Welcome, Kira. New guardian registered. Kira stared at the words. She had no family. No future. No plan. But now, she had a purpose. She turned and walked through the last tunnel, the one that led to the surface. When she reached the top, the sun was rising. Soft gold light touched the ruined walls. But the ruins weren't dead anymore. Children danced in puddles. Old men filled jars. Mothers wept with joy. And in the center of it all, people began to whisper a name, not of a soldier, not of a king, of a thief, a girl who stole a bottle of water and gave back a river. Kira. The girl who was once hunted, now remembered. And far above, in the silent sky, a satellite blinked for the first time in years. Recording it all, because humanity hadn't ended. It had just begun again.